Okay, hello everybody. I think I'm live. I think I've done it. We'll see how it goes. Good morning. It's Kate Richburg and I am live from beadshop.com. If it's Friday, it means that we've made it through the week. And I'm going solo today because we are so busy packing orders, getting in new product, so it's just me, you, and this camera. So bear with me, but I think I've got it. I'm just going to pull this up. Hi, Christine. I see people are jumping on. That is so awesome. I'm going to see if I can pull this up on my phone so I can see your comments and things. Good morning, Melanie. Awesome. Oh, and I see me. There I am. Let me pull this up and make sure I can see you guys commenting. Let me make sure that this is turned low. Alrighty, I am. Here I am. And there's my brother, there's my mom, there's my friend Janice, there's all my friends. Welcome. All right. There's Art right there. You know, I'll tell you guys, some of you guys saw yesterday when we did some posting from our crazy holiday office. You guys saw my mom, Gwen, and one of our friends, let me grab my coffee as I get a little close to you guys, one of my our bead shop friends, Tammy, who sometimes you see on the other side of the camera, well, they came in and did a whole bunch of packaging to help us with beads. It was super awesome to get them out, and Tammy's back. She's sitting right over here next to me. So if you hear some hole punching, she's working hard. You're working hard, right, Tam? That's right. So we really appreciate all of your well wishes and especially your wonderful business this holiday season. We really, our tiny little business here in Redwood City, California, really appreciates it. So thank you so much. And let's see who's here. Look, I've got Bev. Bev, you are from Goulburn, Australia. Welcome. And there's Gita is here, and Debbie. Hi, Debbie. It's great to see you. It's great to have everybody. My mom is on the other side. It's great. Well, welcome, everyone. It's great to have everybody here. So I am going to share with you a fun project that I think will be pretty fun. Oh, great, Manny, welcome. Hello from Canada. It's a pleasure to have you for your first time viewing. It's great. And there's Rasha. Hi, Rasha. Oh, it's great to see everybody. Well, welcome. So, some of you remember when our Drea was here and we made a really fun kind of holiday project with those super duos. And if you haven't made that yet, you can go back, I think it was 2 Free Tip Fridays ago, not last week, but the week before last week. And we also wrote up a really great blog post about it as well. So you can find all of that information to make these great snowflake earrings. They were really fun. Well, Drea, she really inspired me to do some kind of holiday making, some holiday crafting. And so I have, I think, what'll be a fun jumping off project for you today. If you've watched or if you're a part of our private Facebook group for beadshop.com, it's beadshop.com, the bead table. And if you have not joined, hop over there after this broadcast, type in beadshop.com, the bead table, and there's 3 little questions you have to answer, and then you can be a part of our great community over there. There are just so much information that's flying fast and furious over there. It's really great. Well, on that bead table, there's Anna. Hi, Anna. I'm seeing everybody still say hi. Oh, it's great. It's great to have all of you guys here. It's great to have you. But on the bead table, there was, I'd thrown out there, well, what do you guys want to see on Free Tip Friday? And so you guys said you wanted to see wire, you wanted to see a holiday project, you wanted to see something with jigs, you wanted to see some seed bead work. So all of those things, I tossed all of those things up in the air, and then they landed on the table, and this is what I came up with. So I hope you guys like it. So I'm going to talk to you today as we're going to make our very own jigs, okay? And we're going to make some holiday stars Can you guys see that? I'm going to try and, there we go. I'm trying to see our camera. Let me get that a little closer and tighter. There we go, so you guys can see this thing. We're going to make some really cool holiday star ornaments in 3 different sizes, and I'm going to talk to you about making your own jig. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this stuff down, I'm going to move the camera, and you're going to have a little bit of a better view, and then we'll get started. Okay? So let me move the camera over here. As I'm grabbing it, I'm grabbing you. And we'll pull this down here. I'm going to move everything over. Here we go. Right to our table. Look at that. There we are. That was a pretty good pan, right? Maybe? I don't know. Let's hope. And then let me kind of center things over. And where I'm working, there are my hands. That doesn't look too bad. What do you think, Tam? How am I doing? Am I pulling it together?
Good. Yeah.
Let me do this. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to move this over here, my screen, so I can see everything. There we go. You can see a little corner of that screen as I pull it into the shot. There we go. All right. I think that's pretty good. And here's my workspace. All right. I think you guys can see pretty well. Okay. And do let me know if you need me to change that angle or something, because I am in doing my own camera work today, so bear with me here. Okay.
If you need me to do comments, I will too.
Yeah.
I'll look at it for you.
Well, I may. I think
Okay.
I think I'm all right.
Well,
you know what? No, I'm okay.
Okay.
You can always, if you'd like to look at comments, you certainly may. But I love it that you're getting those bags done. All right. Okay. Okay, you guys, this looks pretty good. So let's talk about the project. You guys can see this much better, I think, if I hold it this way. So I have been doing wire, as you know, and as Janice will know, wire is the backbone of jewelry making. Sorry, JP, I just had to get that in. And but I think it'll be really fun. These are kind of fast, quick, easy projects for you to do. And I thought it would be really fun to show you how I make a jig for repeatable forms, I guess, is what I want to say. Okay? Right, Janice always says, I can see it. Janice wrote, no, string is. Janice says that pearl knotting is the backbone, and I say that wire is. It's been a battle that's been ongoing with us for 25 years. But they are both very, very important. Let me see if I can zoom in here so you guys can see the star that I've made. This is kind of a, I don't know, kind of a free form, kind of cool star project. And we're going to use today the wire. We're going to use a variety of wires. I'm going to use 24 gauge, and this is just simple craft wire, this 24 gauge wire. And then we are also going to use, I'm going to show you also how to make some really terrific ornament hangers for these as well. Okay, and we're going to use 20 gauge. Now, you could use any color you wanted. I'm going to stick with silver today, right? Because, I don't know, it feels holiday-ish. But if you have whatever colors you have laying around, you could also use 26 gauge. So let me pan out a little bit, and you guys can see a couple more sizes that I have here. Okay, so this, I've made a medium size star. That's, whoops, let me pull this up a little bit. There we go. I have a medium-sized star here. That's this guy. Okay. And then I have a tiny star, which is this one over here, that tiny one. And this tinier one, I used 26 gauge, and we'll talk about the differences between those in a second. And then I have a big one, this bigger one that I did down here, and this one's kind of in process. This one's also with the 24 gauge. So we've got some varieties that you can make, variety of sizes. Let me see if I can get them all lined up and tightened down so you guys can see that. Okay. I'll put them in size order. Now these you could use, I think they'd be fun and interesting little earring forms that you could do. I think they would be great embellished on packages. Or what I was thinking, I would make, I especially like this variety of sizes, so I could make a bunch of these different ones and string them along or wire them along and hang them on a mantle or on my tree or something. I don't know. I hope that you guys will be super inventive with it. Okay, so let me show you first how I made this jig. Some of you I know have jigs already, right, and have wire jigs. Wire jigs come in a lot of different brands, a lot of different types of jigs. But when I started doing wire years and years ago, there weren't a lot of jigs available. Okay, so you had to kind of be inventive and create your own. So I thought I'd throw it way, way back and show you how I made these. Now, we had just a little scrap piece of lumber laying around, so it's not very wide. Let's see, it's about a 1/2 inch here in depth. And then since I had a nice large piece, I could put 3 sizes of stars on here. Okay, so the way I made that is I first got a piece of paper, and this is just a piece of scrap paper from my desk, and I drew a star, right? So let me just draw a little star. Is this, how's the, I shouldn't screw with the view here. I think it's actually okay. Let me get in kind of tight. Okay, so I just kind of made it up, and I thought, well, a star is 5 points, so I'll just kind of make my little 5-pointed star, kind of like that, and I knew that kind of the size that I wanted, right? And then once I had a size or a shape I liked, then I got my ruler. And with my ruler, I just came in and I neatened up the star. Okay, so it looked a little straighter. And you could do this, you guys, with any shape, right? So if you wanted another, I don't know, if you were doing a repeatable shape, you could do a, I don't know, a flower shape or whatever. But you can see I start to kind of rough out the star shape like that, right? If you were doing, I don't know, maybe you were doing a different design, like you maybe wanted to make some kind of, I don't know, flower or petal design. Maybe I'll just do like 4 things like this, maybe, right? Maybe you were doing an ornament or something like that. Then you could just kind of rough it out, kind of like this, right? So you knew kind of the shape that you wanted. And then you need to think about where you need these pegs to go, right, for your jig, because you're going to wrap your wire around your jig, right? So you need kind of the points for those. So for the star, what I did was I figured, well, my wire is going to have to go from here, right, to here, kind of like I drew it, right, like that. If you're making a shape that's a little bit different, like this, I don't know, you would have to think, well, I know that we want points here and here, right, because you jig around that. And you'd want 1 at the very top, right, like this, right? So there. And then maybe you need some more points over here so your wire can kind of form around that. So kind of, do you get the idea there, right? So this just has the 5, but something that's a little more intricate, you'd have, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then keep going around from there. So 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 pegs for this, okay? So it just, you can't do anything wrong. I mean, you're just experimenting, so, play around with it a little bit. So then, once I have my form, or my star, or my flower, or whatever it is, I cut it out. And so I just use my scissors, cut it out, and I made it a lot prettier for the jig that I was using on air, right? But, so we've got this, okay? then what I did was, you guys spied the handy tape. I'm going to make this a little bit of a bigger screen now so you guys can see that. There we go. A cookie or clay cutters. Randy, that's super smart. Cookie or clay cutters to get the shape. That's really a great idea. And then put your nails in at the points that you need. That's really a great idea. What I did was I just put my little piece of paper down and I taped it. You can see my handy tape right there. And so I grabbed handy tape because, I don't know, maybe I wanted a little bit of a scale so you guys could see how big this would be. Plus I had it kind of hanging around, right? So why not use it? So there's my little piece of handy tape, and I taped it down. So I'll do that here. Come on, handy tape, don't fail me now. All right. And I would just tape that sucker down right there. Okay. Now, to add your pegs for the jig. Now, I always say this, that necessity is the mother of invention, and Janice always knows that I don't like to plan too far in advance. So, if I were making these little pegs, I would probably, you know, and going to the hardware store, I might get those little nails that have no head on them, right? That they were just straight up little nails. I'm not sure what those guys are called, right? Little brads maybe or something. But something that was straight, right? So, but what I had in our little workbox here at beadshop.com, I had just tiny little nails like this that had heads on them. Okay, finishing nails. Thank you, Eileen. Finishing nails. That's what they are. Okay. So what I did was I just got my little nails and I came in with my little hammer and I hammered where I needed that nail to be. Hammer it on down. Sorry, it's a little loud. Okay. And then, of course, you want it to be a little straighter. So let me just straighten that out a little bit. There we go. Okay. So there's one point where I needed it on my jig. And then I thought, well, I needed some heavy-duty cutters to cut my nails. So I came in. Now, a word of caution. I don't want you to use your good jewelry making cutters. They will not work at all. Okay, you'll wreck your cutters. But these are crazy Xuron memory wire cutters or an old pair of cutters that you have in your drawer, you know, that are used for like heavy wires and stuff like that. All you need to do is you come in to the head of the nail, put your finger on the head of the nail, and clip it. Okay? So the head of the nail comes right off. Your memory wire cutters are none the worse for wear at all. But notice, these nails are pretty small, right? So I'm not cutting a really heavy nail. I'm just cutting these tiny, thin little nails with that. Okay? And then there you can see is my first wire for my jig. Okay? And then I just follow the points around and I've got it. Now, when you cut these nails off, you guys, they're a little sharp. All right, so I had some sandpaper laying around here, so I filed these just a little bit. You could file it with your Dremel, or again, you could just get finishing nails if you're at the hardware store. Okay, but so that's just how I did it. Really, really easy. And then I thought that the lines that the star made really helped me have a good line to follow. Okay, so that's step one. So I'm going to see if I want to get this a little tilted so you guys can kind of see that. Is that a little bit better? Maybe that view is okay. I think so. I think it'll be all right. Let me know if you can't see, okay? So then I decided what wire I was going to use, okay? And so I made some experiments with some different wires, and my kind of go-to great wire that I use a lot is this 24 gauge. So I'm going to jump in with some 24. And I'm going to jig this size star right here. Okay? So I'm going to measure off about, I've got my little ruler here. So this is a 6-inch ruler. So once, twice, 3 times, maybe 4 times. So that's about 24 inches, right? Okay. Now, I'm just going to start and jump in. So here's my first, this little star right here that I'll work on. And I'm just going to find a point to start. I'm going to give myself, I don't know, a few inches, maybe 2 or 3 inches there sticking out. And I'm just going to follow the wire. I'm going to get in a little bit tighter, you guys, here. There we go. I'm just going to follow these points. Now, since the 24 gauge is pretty thin, fairly thin, I'm going to go around a few times, okay? And see how I pulled this tight and it goes around the peg. It's keeping my wire, the tension in my wire, nice and tight. Can you see that? So my wire is nice and straight. All right, Janice, thank you, JP. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next week. Well, I'll talk to you later today, that too. Okay, so you can stop when you have, I don't know, however many you want stacked up. Maybe I'll stack up 3. Okay, there we go. And can you see how I've got all 3? I've gone around 3 times on that star. Okay, so now I'm going to take it off the jig. All right, and it's gonna, don't be afraid, but it's going to look a little bit messy, but that's okay, because you know what? You're the boss of this wire. Sorry, I'm covering this. There you go. You guys can see it. Hi from Ketchikan, Alaska. Hi, Jean. How are you? Okay, so I'm holding this. Yeah, Eileen, adding two wires, gold and silver, would be great. So now I'm holding that star into formation. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this long piece of wire and I'm going to come in and wrap these little sections, these little, where the stars come together, kind of forming it as I go a little bit. I'll come over here, and these are meant to be slightly wonky, okay? As my mom has a quilt pattern we call wonky stars, right? Well, this is the wire version of that wonky star. Lynn, you say that this, you haven't worked with wire much. Yeah, this is a 24 gauge, and it's a soft wire, dead soft wire. So you're not going to have any trouble manipulating this whatsoever. And you can, if you need to, get your tools back in there and make that form. Okay. And then I'm going to come around. So see what I do? You could come around the top, but I also just come around right here at the front of this, right? And just wrap that little intersection. Give it a little twist. Okay. So now you can see, if you need to get your pliers in there to make things a little cleaner, you can. Right? Get them in there. So now this is a frame that you could do just about anything with, right? So what I did in this finished piece, you can see that one there, let me get in nice and tight so you guys can see that. There you go. I started to do a little bit of embellishing with seed beads and stuff on there, right? So if I wanted to embellish this, which I do, I don't have much wire left here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this for my top up here to do this section. Okay, So let me do that first, and then we'll do some embellishing. That's a really good idea, Kim Crawford, to do a class on understanding wire, not just gauges, but soft, dead soft, half hard. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I think a lot of people have trouble sometimes understanding what all of those tempers of the wire are. This is Friday, December 1st, isn't it? I think it is. Oh my goodness. Well, Sherry, I'm glad you're here. Glad to have you. So see, you guys, I've just kind of given a couple of little twists. I have this wire here, this wire here. Now I'm just going to add, these are our melon beads. And this one, you know, I looked it up and now I can't remember what it is. It's in our melon bead category over on beadshop.com. I don't know, white alabaster maybe, I think is what it is. I should have written it down. Gita, you'll find it for me. You'll save me, won't you? Around. So see how I'm just wire wrapping that guy? Just like we would do a regular wire wrap, right? Around. I'd come around here, underneath, and then we'll wrap. That's the one, Tam.
Opal
what is
ivory.
it? Opal Ivory. Tammy saves the day.
I know where things are next time.
Yeah. There we go. Can you see that there? And you can find more on these wire wrap loops right on our skill builders on beadshop.com. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. There we go. And now I have this little extra wire right here. So let me get some of my seed beads. Let me zoom out here a little bit so you guys can see a little bit more. And I'm going to bring some seed beads in. So these I did save the tubes. I've got this, this is 951 is the number, 11-aught, 951. And then I have this really, I love this color. This is the pewter lined crystal. That's this one. I love that. This one down here, it's the opal silver lined alabaster. One of my faves. That guy's there. I have, this is the antique silver melon. I've also got that one. And this is the light smoky pewter. I've got that one here. But any of the beads will work. You know, you choose. I chose kind of this snowy palette because I kind of liked it how it was twinkly. And this one's the crystal AB. Okay. So that's what I've got there for beads. Could I put beads on the wire? Yes, Manny, we could. And that's going to be my next experiment, I think. But I don't think, I think it would work just fine. The name of the crystal, this one, Len, this is just the crystal AB in size 8. 8-aught is this one. So I'll just put on a few seed beads. Right, to string across. Yes, that is exactly right, Eileen. I want this project, as all of these kind of fun Free Tip Fridays, to be a jumping off point for you, to be kind of a creative Kickstarter, right? Because I really want to see what you come up with. So I'm putting on a few of these seed beads. Let's see, the first one. This melon, this guy, this one was, what was this again, Tammy?
Opal ivory.
Opal ivory was this guy in the melon, the 6mm melon. And you guys, I will put a list of the beads that I'm using. I'll do a quick blog post on all this so you guys have a shopping list, okay? I'll do that after we're done. We're done here, okay? And I'll also link it in the newsletter so you guys will have that. So see right up tight there, see what I've done? I've just added a few little seed beads. Now I have this tail. And I'm going to wrap that around. Oh, that's nice, Ma. So my mom said, that she was she enjoyed getting to know you, Tammy, yesterday, and she said you're a real jewel.
Oh, same here. I love
it is
working
true.
with her.
It was really fun, wasn't it?
Yes, very much. So.
Yes, you know, when you need packagers, you call in your mom and your friends, right? So see that, you guys, how that is? It's just kind of a nice little, I don't know, random grouping of seed beads there. Now, let's, Kim Crawford, you read my mind. Look what I have right here, Kim Crawford. I have tiny tassels. Get out of my mind, Kim Crawford. That's so funny. So let me show you how I might do that, how I might add those tiny tassels. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. Great minds think alike, isn't it true? So I'll get some of that 24 gauge. And you could add them wherever you wanted to add, right? But if I'm adding wire, I'll just get my wire. I can start my wire in the middle. This is maybe about a foot of wire here. And I can just give it one little wrap to kind of add it, you know, add it to the design. And then I'm off and running, okay? Cindy, I always have trouble squeezing in the end of wire. Yes, I do have some tips. Hold that thought, and I'll talk to you about that. So let me just tie. We've got these new tiny tassels, right? Aren't they just dreamy? I love them so. I'm going to just string one on. And let's just put that tiny tassel right there in front. And I don't need a loop or anything. I think it's fitting on there kind of nicely. Can you see how it's just kind of sitting on there like that? The Zuron needle nose. You know, Trish, we don't now, but we're going to be adding the Zuron to our product line. Zuron has, I love those Zuron bent chain nose. I love a lot of their pliers. They're really great. And I love those for bending in the wires. So yeah, we're going to look for those after the new year. Okay, let me make this view a little bit bigger so you guys can see a little bit more. Right, so adorbs. I love these so much. I was thinking today I was going to make an earring project instead, but I had stars on the mind, so I did that instead. But these tassels would be so cute on earrings. So see, I just added a few more seed beads, and now I'm going to take one more pass around. Just like that. Maybe one more pass of bare wire. There we go. Now I'm ready to come in and do a little more embellishing. Let the wire tell you where it wants to go. I think my wire wants to go down right there. So I'm going to put my wire into position. Whoops, I don't want to get it tangled. The tassel I might put on last, maybe, because it's kind of giving me a little bit of sass. It's a little bit in my way, but it's not too bad. Now, if you guys don't have, oh, Gita, you're a star too. It's very nice of you to say. So if you don't have one of these guys, right, a nylon jaw wire straightening plier, this little dude, look at that. It's like magic, especially with this thin gauge. Someone was saying earlier, I can't remember who it was saying that you haven't had a lot of experience working with the 24 gauge or with wire itself. Issues when I find people have the most issue is if their wire is crooked or has, you know, little bends or stuff in it like that. That's what starts to give you trouble. So if you have this wire straightening tool, bam, it makes it so much easier for you to work with. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bead right here at the intersection. A tree, yes, Katie, a little tree done in all stars. Wouldn't that be darling? You could also jig a Christmas tree or a, you know, like a fir tree of some kind. Wouldn't that be nice? That would be a really easy thing to jig, right? So I'm just going to put my little bead sections right around, like so. They could be all the same bead or all different beads, whatever. And then I'm just going to bring my wire over, and see, there's that. irritating little crimp in the wire, so let me just tell it that I'm the boss and straighten it out. There you go. Right? It's a good question, Kim. I live with these right next to my side, and you compulsively straighten. Can I straighten too much, causing weakness? It's a great question. You actually aren't weakening the wire by straightening it like this, but what you are doing is work hardening. So let me put my star down for a second, and let me address this, because I think this is really important. The wire that I'm using, this is just a craft wire. It has like a silver plating over it, and it's probably a brass wire on the interior, okay, like that. But as you are, I knew you'd make a tree jig, Ma, I knew it. I think it would be really cool. As you straighten, not only are you straightening the wire, but you're work hardening it, okay? So the more that you compulsively straighten, the stiffer and more buoyant, more bouncy your wire gets. Does that make sense? And as your wire gets stiffer, it also becomes, I want to say, not brittle, but it becomes work hardened. So if you are working your wire back and forth after it's been work hardened like this, back and forth, of course it's not doing it for me then, right? But yeah, it's less flexible, but see, it also will eventually break. Okay? So I try, because I am also a wire straightener, a compulsive wire straightener, I guess I want to say. So just straighten your wires, if you can, as needed, okay? And so once is fine, but I have a tendency, I want to do this, I want to straighten it again and again. So it's a handy tool to have, but again, you don't want to over straighten. Your wire will get harder, and then it'll be less flexible for you to design with, and if you move it back and forth a lot, it may break because it's hard, okay? So I'll put on a few more little beads here. Here's my, I don't know, here's another 8/0, right? And again, you guys, I will make a blog post for this, and we'll link it on the homepage later on this afternoon, so you have a shopping list if you'd like to know exactly the beads that I'm using. But I will venture to guess that you have some 24 gauge wire and some seed beads at home, right? So I'm just putting that right in the little intersection. Let me get this a little bit closer so you guys can see that. Okay. Then I'll go over here to this side. And this is where I'm running out of wire, so I'm going to show you, I'm not sure who asked this earlier. Cindy, maybe you did. How to tuck in the end of the wire. I'm going to show you how to do that. Is that beading more... is the breaking more likely happening to a brass-based wire? No, not really. You know, any of the wires, any non-ferrous jewelry metals like, I don't know, copper. Thanks, Bran. Bran just did some shots. It's awesome. Copper, brass, the silver, any of these, it all acts pretty much the same way. Okay. And Ma, you were asking about getting the wood. You know, I had this little scrap of wood in over where we keep our props and stuff. But you could just go to the hardware store. You know, I was thinking I was going to use like a little piece of molding or something. You know, when you put in crown molding, they have those little blocks and stuff that you put in the corners. I thought that the back of one of those might be kind of a good thing to use because I wouldn't have to cut it. But I bet if you walk the aisles of your local hardware store, you'd find a good block of wood. Or you can, if you're handy or if you have some at home, just use your little saw and just saw off yourself a piece, right, of wood. So now here's the end. How am I going to deal with this end? Okay, let me get a little tighter here. How long does it take to complete what you're doing? Well, Mikey, probably less time when I'm doing this and not talking on air, but you could probably make one of these little guys in about, I don't know, under 10 minutes, I would guess, right? That's what I think. So see here, I'm just grabbing that end I'm pulling it nice and tight. Now with the end of my chain nose pliers, and sometimes I use this with my bent chain nose as well, I'll just get that little end in and I'll just push it around, kind of burnishing it almost with my plier. Can you see there how it just gets right in there? And I've tucked it so the end is kind of on the inside here. Okay? So you're not going to have any issue with that catching on anything. So let's go ahead and put this back in its little place. And then I could come around on this side and add my wire going here. Sorry, I'm out of frame a little bit. There we go. Let me get this bigger here so you guys can see. Okay. So that's really it there. Now, what you could do also with this, I have my little smaller one here. This is the 26 gauge I did with that small little star. I'll get a little, well, it takes a little bit of practice, Cindy. I could also wind and kind of cover the opening of the star with my wire. I was kind of playing around with that. Hi, Jackie. Is there an echo or is that me? I'm not sure. I don't think it's me. There we go. And see these little wires that are going across like this? We could just embellish. Oops. This is where my wire straightener comes in handy. These little spokes that are going across the star, we could embellish those with seed beads. Are you getting a little bit of a delay? Well, you can always jump out and come on back in. There we go. And so see, once you have kind of something established there, you can kind of wrap it around. Right? So I don't know if you guys can see that pretty well. But you can kind of go around and go around. So these are, you know, the sky's the limit with these. There we go. So there's my little closure there. Okay. So hangers for these. Let me show you that, and that'll be our last little thing, and then we'll call it a day. For ornament hangers, I want to show you, because you can do these for any of your anything. They don't have to be your little stars. You can make ornament hangers for your tree, for just your regular ornaments. It would be fun to sit around and play with these all day. Mom, we'll have to do that sometime. We haven't played with wire together in a long time. Here's 20 gauge right here. Now you could use 18 for these too if you wanted, but I had some 20. I think that'll work nicely. And for the bottom of the ornament hanger, I just need kind of a nice, I don't know, something to go around, like maybe this pen that I have sitting here, right? So this would be the hook. Right, that looks like a good hanger. Maybe it's a little bit big, so I'll say that I'll make this a little bit smaller. Then what I like doing is, and I do this a lot where I just use my hands to shape it. Let me get that little bump out of there. So let's shape. I'm actually maybe tackling this backwards. You know what? Hang on. Let me do it this way. I'll start at the back of my ornament. I'll come around. I'm going to make a little, kind of a little spiral. That's what I wanted to see. There we go. Then I'm just going to kind of make the spiral a little bit big. Now I'm going to shape it with my hands. There we go. And, right? That's right, Jackie. Totally backwards. Cut that away. Now I'm going to make kind of like a little, the tiniest little loop, just to close that little opening up. Now this is where, if you have a bench block and hammer, this is where that bench block really comes in handy. Okay, and then you can kind of open this up, and this is where the tree, this would go on the tree that way. Okay, so I'm going to grab a chasing hammer, clear my spot here a little bit, and my bench block. And with 20 gauge, it's fairly thin, so I want it to stay in the shape that I put it in, so I'm going to hammer it. If you had heavier gauge wire, like you could use 18 gauge with this if you wanted, or I don't know, even 16 gauge would work. But see how now that I've hammered it, see how stiff that is and how it stays in position? Then I can kind of close it up. Look at how cute that is, right? The block and hammer, but what about rubber or a sandbag? Okay, well, you know, Kim, you could get a sandbag if you wanted to put this on. I've put this on an old velvet pad that we have. You could put it on a pot holder. You could put it on a piece of felt. In my studio, I have a few pieces of scrap leather that I put these on. So a sandbag or rubber block isn't really necessary for what we're doing here. Okay? You don't need it, at least not for this. Now, let's go ahead and put this on. Look at how cute this is ready to go on the tree. Here, let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. Come on now. Right? So that's ready to go, these little hangers. I love the way hangers look. I think they look really fun. And you could bead these too, right? Yeah, bead mats, of course. Gita, duh. Of course we could use bead mats. That would work too. We could also add, let me show you one more thing. Yeah, I love a block and a hammer. Let me show you one more. Let's embellish this hanger with a little bit of beads. Okay? Why not? Let me get this a little bit tighter. I know, I should. I'm going a little bit long today, but you guys wanted wire, so I did it. Let me see. Let me get some 24 gauge. Right? These would be darling on packages. Let me do this as a 2 color. Let me get some 26 gauge and do this. All right? I've got 26. Let me cut. Yeah, I think I'll make a little star garland to put up. I think that would be really fun. I'm going to put a few little beads on here on this 26 gauge. These are 11/aughts, but you could use anything you had. Put a few on. And I just cut, I don't know, a length. Maybe this is about 6 inches of wire. I'll just wrap this around a little bit. Wrap my beads around a little bit here. Some little bit of free form. See, going back and forth. Can you see that? Let me get a few more beads on there. This is freeform wire wrapping at its best, right? At its easiest. Get a few more there. So it kind of looks like a little bauble all on its own. And then let's get a little more wire on there. I'll come in really tight, you guys, so you can see this in just a second. I know it might be a little far away. I'm sorry I'm not exactly in frame all the time. I'm reading comments and filming all at the same time, so thanks for bearing with me. I'll put my little seed beads on there. Do a few more twists of the wire. Let me get in kind of tight here. There we go, so you guys can see that. Now to finish this up, can you guys see there I'm finally in frame? Sorry again. The wire just makes me super excited. So I'm just going to wrap right there, and then I've got this end here that I'll finish up and wrap. This 26 gauge is so malleable and so easy to work with. I'll clip this end and I'll clip that end off. Okay. Well, that's what they say, Trish Perry, but we'll see. We'll see if I can tame this 26 gauge. So again, Cindy, it's kind of hard for you to see, but there's that little point of wire right there. I'm just going to push it down. Tighten it up. Okay. So now can you see I've got that nice little embellished bauble on there. So now I'll make this a little bit bigger, and let's make this into an ornament hanger. Okay, so I will do my little spiral at the back. There we go. That one's, I like the looks of that one a lot better. I had to warm up. I haven't touched wire for a few weeks, so I'm a little rusty. Let me get that pen. Where'd my pen go? Yeah, totally. Just send it to me to finish, Cindy. I'll take care of that in between everything else. Not a problem. Send them over. Why not? And then let's go just down here and tighten that up. I like closing that little end off. I think it adds kind of a little elegance to it, and it's also not sharp that way. Okay? So look at how beautiful that ornament hanger is. Right? Oh, Trish. Yeah, it's true. Cindy, just a little practice will make perfect. It's true. Let's hammer this down. Again, still 20 gauge that I did this base with. Still 20. And flatten. Yeah, this ornament hanger looks a lot better. A lot more elegant in shape. You guys can see that. But it's really, I think they're really fun. And if you have like fancy special ornaments, like I have so many fancy ornaments from over the years, having a kind of a fancy ornament hanger on them, I think really makes them look nice. And you can see we haven't even used our big star. Let me kind of zoom out a little bit more so you guys can see. I've got this big star that I've made too. That would be cool on this hanger as well, right? So whatever scale works for you. Okay? So you guys, this pretty much brings our show to a close. I hope that you guys have had a fun time creating and will make some good stuff with your very own jig. But remember, all you need, I'll go over the materials one more time, just a variety of, I used a variety of 8/0 and 11/0 beads. I used some 26 gauge and some 20 gauge and some 24 gauge wire in whatever finish you like. And your stars, your little jig. Let me pan up a little bit so you can see it, right? And we did those stars in the 3 different sizes. Don't forget that if you came in a little late, you can watch it on the replay. You can make some different shapes, and I talked about how to kind of put the little finishing nails in there, how you would create that for your jig. So there's all kinds of Really great ideas. I hope that you guys take this idea and run. Please send me some pictures or post them on our bead shop Facebook page at the bead table community. I'd love to see them. And again, look for a blog post a little bit later today, and we'll detail all of this a little bit more. So on the weekend, not the weekend, on next week, I'm going to move the camera so I can say goodbye to you guys. I'm going to pan around. Here we go, panning, and let's see if I'm going to be too close. There we go. Not too bad. All right, there we go. That wasn't too bad of a pan. So next week, you guys, Emily and I will be back. We have a great, it's going to be so exciting. I can't wait to share. This has been a project that you guys have been wanting to make for a really long time. It has to do with some of the new product that we have in. So if you haven't gone to Just In, you're going to see some brand new, really awesome check glass seed beads. And Emily's going to be doing some fun things with those next week. So we've got a lot of fun stuff. And what else have I got for you? I guess that's it. Open those newsletters this weekend. It'll have links to some of those new products. And watch for me a little bit later, and I'll have some of these guys on. I could wear it as a big fancy earring too if I wanted, I guess. All right, you guys, have a great creative weekend. Thanks for hanging in there with us during this busy week after Thanksgiving, and have a great start to your December holiday. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Done and done.